Hey guys, and welcome to my video. In today's video, we will be going over 7 fancy checkmates that you might have never heard of, or you might have heard of them but never seen them. And this is a great place for beginners to learn some of the basic fancy checkmating ideas. So without further ado, let's get started. So in our first example, we will be looking at Legalsmate. People get this name confused with Legalsmate and Legalsmate, but it's Legalsmate. So you can see this bishop is pinning the knight to the queen. But who cares? It's not an absolute pin. An absolute pin is where one piece is pinned to the king. And you're not allowed to put your own king in danger, so that would be an absolute pin. But here it's a relative pin, so who cares about that queen? Just throw it in the garbage can. No, but don't throw in the garbage can in like real games, but only if this position occurs, you can do this take. Boom. Most likely take that queen and be greedy and say like, ha ha ha, I won. And he may think you're dumb, but you're actually doing something quite smart. Checkmate. Boom, checkmate. That is checkmate. And your opponent has realized that you are not that dumb. And pawn was here. Then we would still give it, like, if this pawn was here, you know. I mean, if this pawn wasn't even there, then you'd have to do it, and then the king has only one option, and then we still give checkmate knight to d5. So, very good example to start off with. Now let's look at our next example. In our next example, we are looking at Anastasia's mate. What is Anastasia's mate? You have to have a knight and a rook. And it's named after a princess called Anastasia, and she's kind of tricky. So in this position, we can see that this king is in quotation marks safe. He's not really safe because Anastasia's mate is just gonna kill him now. So that princess is just now gonna kill him. So how do we kill this king? How do we get rid of this king? How do we win the chess game? Well, the answer is we start off with the knight. Knight to e7. Here comes the shining knight in shining armor. And now the king only has, here comes the cannons. Boom. Clash. What a badang. And there is your checkmate. Despite blacking have better material and a queen. But that queen is really not doing anything. And because it's just stuck here, sure. I mean, this rook might come out in here. I mean, no, not here. Here. But, yeah, anyways, he was too far in the game, and let's move on to our next example. I've bet you've never heard of this one. It's called Greco's mate. Greco's mate. Have you ever heard a word like that? Well, it's named after a famous chess player called Greco. His last name was Greco. But anyways, let's get to the checkmate. So now, you might be saying that, oh, wait. I cannot see the checkmate, but I can see a tactic. Alright, sure. Now we can take this rook and this queen. And we can just do that by knight to e6 check because it's a discovered check. See, this king is discovered by the bishop, so it's called a discovered check. And now, once the king is forced to move, or he has to move, then we can take the queen or the rook. But in fact, that is not the right answer. Back in this position, we have to be clever. What do we need to notice? Well, here's one important thing that we can notice. This bishop is blocking the king's movement, so that king cannot move anywhere. So how do we checkmate it? Well, we have to give a check. And is there any possible way that we can give check on this rank? I mean, on this file? No. So what do we do? So there's only one way, but we'd have to do it from here. That's our only way. We don't have a light squared bishop or a queen, so we have to do it from here. But how do we get this naughty pawn out of there? Well, we distract it. Knight to b6, and that's a banger. A takes b6. This file is clear, and you don't have to ask those rooks twice. Rooks love open files, and check and mate. And that was like a really cool one. Alright, let's move on to our fourth example. And this one is called the Hooksmate. It's kind of like that Captain Hook, but you know, it doesn't make that much sense. But anyways, the formation does look like a hook. And for this, you need a rook, a knight, and a pawn. You might say that we don't have a knight, so how are we going to perform this? And why promote to a knight, huh? When you can promote to a queen? Well, if you promote to a queen, then like this horde of pawns is just going to kill you now. This horde is just going to promote, and then black would have like 5 queens sometime later. And this king is definitely gonna die because these pieces are just out of the game. But anyways, what do we have to take in mind here? This is the last escaping square because the rook covers that, and the black king cannot move anywhere. So how do we do it? Well, we have to make a forcing move because we don't want black to get another knight and another queen, and the most forcing move in chess yet ever is a check. So, let's promote to knight. And then black is doomed. Let's just say that king to h8 happens, or this. I'll show you how to do that if it goes there. Knight to g6 checks, and h7, and king to and rook to h8. So back in this position, why not go here? Well, we still do the same thing, and now if black comes here, we have a hookmate. The pawn is guarding the knight is guarding the rook, and the poor black king fish, is gone. It's a goner because, boom, that's covered by the knight. Boom, that's covered by the pawn. Boom, that's covered by, and I think you can see how this is checkmate. But what if it wasn't? What do we do here? Well, still we do the exact same thing. And no matter what, the king is still on the dinner plate. So let's move on to our fifth example. This one is called the Swallows Tailgate. And I don't even know what a swallow's tail is. I've never seen one. And I've never searched it anyways. I'll just go search it on Google after this video. But anyways, the Swallow's Tailgate is a simple mate. You might have saw it right now. queen to g3 checkmate, and that's the Swallows mate. And Magnus has played this many of times because these two rooks are like the swallowtail and they are blocking him to go anywhere. But notice if this king was on g1, then it would be called the epaulets mate, and we're gonna see that right now. So this is a game that Magnus played, and now we're going to demonstrate epaulets mate. So what will Magnus do? Can you find the Grandmaster move in this position? Your time starts now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and time's up. So how did you do? Well, if you guessed anything other than queen f5 check, you are wrong. If you guessed queen to f5 check, then you are correct. Why did Magnus do this? Well, you wanted to get... He has a really neat trick in mind. Either black loses the rook or black loses the game, which means, yeah, you lose the game. So if the king just runs away somewhere, then we can happily take this rook and still we can do a checkmate. But now black tried to save his rook, and he did rook to f6, and black is just done. Black is crushed. Like literally crushed. And now, here comes the amazing, drumroll please, queen to d7 checkmate, and there you have it. That's epaulets mate. And why is it called epaulets mate? Well, you know how on soldiers' uniforms sometimes, or the generals or captain's uniform, there are some like yellow things or something like flat, like a cylinder or something on their shoulders. That's called an epaulet, but it may look nice on your uniform, but it gets you checkmated in this example. And notice all these squares, all these other squares are covered due to the rook that's here, so you may need a rook and a queen or a rook and a rook to perform this mate. But let's move on to our last example, my favorite one. It's called the Bodens mate. The Bodens mate is not that difficult. It's like a crisscross in action. Like the two bishops just dice the king and eat them up. So let's look at how this is performed. A Bodens mate is usually performed when black or white is castled on queen side. This right here, wait, what? This box right here, this part of the chessboard is called the queen side because the queen starts here. And as you guessed it, where would the king side be? Well, you're correct. It would be here. It would start from here and end here. So that's the king side. So when black is now castled in queen side in this position, there usually happens a queen sacrifice. Can you find the queen sacrifice? Well, you got it. That's the only queen sacrifice ever. Oh, no, wait, I'm mistaken. Sorry, my bad. But, yeah, but that wouldn't do really anything just win you one night. But still, you'd be down, like, material, because you actually already are down material. But anyways, what would we do here now? Well, black's only option is to take, because if moves here, then... Okay, so, takes. And now, here comes the final bishop to dice up this king in half, and these two brothers can eat the king. Boom. bishop to a6, checkmate, and that's a crisscross dice. They're just masters at dicing up the king, really. And if you want to know, and if you're wondering how to checkmate with a bishop and another bishop in the end game when you don't have anything else and your opponent doesn't have anything else but a king, then I'll post a link in the description of how you can do that. I've already made a video on it. If you haven't seen it, go to the description box and check it out. And that was our final example for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new today, and I hope you use these same checkmate patterns in your own games today. So bye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.